The language of gambling is staggering. Literally thousands of folk terms, phrases, and expressions are used by 21, roulette, and especially craps dealers. A craps table usually has 4 people working it, 2 dealers, a stick man on the opposite side of the table from the dealers, and the box man, who sits at the center of the table and who is the first line of supervision. Tom Martinet is a fast-talking, fast-thinking box man working at the Horseshoe in Las Vegas. He has worked in the gambling business for many years and is outspoken about the pros and cons of the business. Language is his hobby, and he has collected almost 2,500 folk terms used on the craps tables alone.
So the other stuff is tough. You just have to know the language. It's like any group language. You have to know the inside information to understand the language.
The language of the tourist player is very different from that of the serious player. The tourists, Tom says,
the tourists, they don't know much of anything. They're the ones who might say, baby needs new shoes, and think it's pretty cute.
The language between the players and the dealers is even more different.
And there's kind of a line drawn between the type of language that's allowed between the house and the players. If a player uses language that's too much like what the house uses, we're not too crazy about it. We want certain informational language, such as 675 across, which tells us exactly it's a certain type of bet in a dice game. Or I want all the hardways on the hop, which means they want the 4 and the 10, the 6 and the 8, the hard way on one roll. That's informational. But if they get too cutesy, then they're overstepping the boundaries. We'll either tend to ignore them or we'll make fun of them.
Making fun of a player to keep him from using the dealer's language can be very subtle. To make a number the hard way, for example, means to roll identical numbers on each die. Hence, a hard 10 is 2 5s. A dealer might make fun of a player by urging him to hit a hard 11, an impossibility.
I see it as a craft. Okay, it's like, it's a skilled craft. It's like, now, dealing 21 is very easy. I could teach a monkey to deal 21 in about 6 months. Within a year, you can be a fairly competent 21 dealer. To be a wheel dealer, roulette dealer, takes probably, I would say, at least 3 years. To be a crap dealer takes at least 3 to 5 years to be a good crap dealer. To know, I mean, the amounts of bets are phenomenal. All the moves that can be made on you, it's just unbelievable.
So not only does a new dealer have to learn the mechanics of his job, the handling of the checks, manipulation of the stick, and paying off bets, but in order to join the ranks of the experienced hands, he must not only know the in-group language, but he must also be able to use it properly and with style.
You have to communicate essential information. Some of the ones like high diddle diddle right down the middle, with their rhymed, so they're easy to remember. They're cute. They need to have a sense of cuteness about them. They have to remain ours. If they're picked up on by the players, we tend not to use them too much. So they have to remain our property in a sense. They're part of our repertoire. The stick man, in a sense, is on stage, kind of showing off. And there are times when you can get away with verbal play more than others.
Such as when hustling a player for bets.
The other thing is when he's advertising for bets, when he's hustling for bets from the stick. That's a little bit of cuteness is allowed because you don't want to turn these people upside down and empty their pockets, but you do want them to bet. And one way a little humor works, and everybody has their own particular style and way of doing that. And you'll watch new stick men trying different styles to find one that fits. And it's some things we'll just say, shut up, because it's so bad, and they just don't have the rhythm or the timing to say it. And other people can say the same thing and get away with it, and it's really funny.
The language of gambling is passed on just like any other folk art form.
Stuff is passed on from dealer to dealer and from generation to generation and from house to house. because there's been a lot of movement in the business traditionally, and so they pass that stuff around.
The series Home Means Nevada presents folk life from the Silver State and is produced by the Nevada State Council on the Arts, Folk Arts Coordinator Blanton Owen, in cooperation with KUNR Reno, KNPR Las Vegas, and KOLO Reno, with funding from the National Endowment for the Arts Folk Arts Program and the state of Nevada. This is Deb Spring.